Can I make a font in 30 minutes? Let's jump in and find out. I opened a new document in Adobe Illustrator and started sketching. I wanted to make a font from a hand-drawn typeface that looked like it could be painted on a sign in a ghost town. I always have trouble drawing consistent line weights and shapes, and it really only gets worse when I'm in a rush, but I've been drawing handmade lettering for over a decade now, so I was pretty confident I could figure out how to draw these characters the way I wanted them. I have this problem where I always end up starting out with really thin letters when I draw A through L, and by the time I get to the M and on, I start making letters super wide for no reason at all. I do this little trick when I draw outlines that I plan on filling in Illustrator. I make these little connecting lines between the outside lines and the inside ones so that they become one shape. Then I can select the inner paths and delete them by pressing delete twice. It's super fast, and I like to do this more than a paint bucket fill or a shape builder. It's kind of just something I've done since I first learned Illustrator, and this is one case where I'm just being old and stuck in my ways. Drawing letters is such an interesting thing because I tend to make things the same every time I do it, almost like if it's my handwriting. Unless I plan things out to be a specific way or stylized and sketch it out perfectly, I will almost always draw the same kinds of letters. These are coming out very close to what I would hand draw on a flyer or a poster, but it's okay because it definitely fits the look that I'm going for here. There's a few little details that I can change here and there and start squeezing some of these down and adjusting the lines by hand to keep them the size that I want. After getting to the end, I did exactly what I said and made the last half of the alpha looking way too wide and nothing like the lettering that I started with. I decided to do my template and guides backwards and go ahead and make it based on the first few letters. I drew this little box and copied it over across the entire alpha so I could make my adjustments. M's and W's always need to be a little bit wider, so I made sure to make the guides for those reflect that. But I was able to squeeze in all the rest of my letters into the thinner guides. I made some minor adjustments to make sure the line's thickness all matched at least somewhat close. Even if this was hand painted on a sign, the weights would match at least a little bit. Once all of my letters were made and adjusted the way I wanted them, it was time to move on to the numbers. I always make my numbers based off of how I make my letters and try to keep everything close in style, so I use some of the letters as the bases and starting places to make every number. I opened up FontSelf, the font creation plugin for Adobe Illustrator, and dragged in all of my characters and assigned them out to the proper spots, and used their amazing auto-spacing feature to adjust my kerning, and just like that, I was done with this one in just over 27 minutes. I installed the new font on my machine and I was typing with it in no time. I had no idea if I was going to be able to do this challenge in 30 minutes, so I was super happy with the results. I did go ahead and add the symbols after the fact and got this bad boy posted up in my Patreon for my patrons to download for free. Obviously, I could do a much better job with more time, but I love doing challenges like this that show that you don't really have to be a perfectionist. You can make amazing stuff and even put it out and sell it for profits in a short amount of time. I love selling my fonts for $3, whether I put in hours of work or not. This was super fun, and I honestly had a really good time trying to make this font in just 30 minutes. It's been a minute since I actually beat a challenge, so I was stoked on this one. If you want to see me make more font designs, watch this video. Alright guys, that's it for this one. Thank you so much for checking out my channel, and like always, we'll catch you on the next one. Bye!